The one that stood out the most was one time when my father wanted to own a car, and he decided that rather than buy one, that he would simply find one he liked and steal it. He went for a walk, and after about an hour, he found one that he liked and managed to break into it and drove away. However, a cop saw him and started to chase him. After a high-speed chase, my father lost the cop, and then he ditched the car and ran home. He was so angry when he got home that all of us avoided him for fear that we might get hit because he was so angry. Hi there, my name is Brad, and I may have done something rather cruel. Part of me feels a bit justified, but maybe you could give me your opinion. To start things off, you need to understand a bit of my childhood. Things weren't always easy between me and the rest of my family, although it wasn't because I was the black sheep of the family. Rather the opposite, actually. Everyone else was black sheep, and I was the only white one. By that I mean my family. Well, they weren't exactly the most honest and good-hearted of people. Like, for example, my father had a regular grift where he would distract people while my sister would pick their pockets. If people would notice that they were being robbed, then my father would throw ashes in their face. He would literally keep handfuls of ash that he gathered from our fireplace in his pockets. Dad, you and Kendra really need to stop stealing from people. One of these days, someone is going to catch you, or you will rob someone who is a police officer, and you will get arrested.
Oh, you are such a stick in the mud. You must have been swapped at birth. There is no way any son of mine would be such a coward and say something so stupid. Your sister is the best pickpocket around.
Yeah, Brad, you are such a sissy. What is wrong with you?
It was always like that. They would do terrible things and then think that I was the odd one. When I was old enough, I got myself a job, and they called me a loser for working for minimum wage while they made good money selling drugs. Part of me was jealous about all the money they were making, but I also knew that they would eventually get caught. At least I assumed that they would, but somehow, they always managed to avoid being noticed by the police. There were a few very close calls, though. The one that stood out the most was one time when my father wanted to own a car, and he decided that rather than buy one, that he would simply find one he liked and steal it. He went for a walk, and after about an hour, he found one that he liked and managed to break into it and drove away. However, a cop saw him and started to chase him. After a high-speed chase, my father lost the cop, and then he ditched the car and ran home. He was so angry when he got home that all of us avoided him for fear that we might get hit because he was so angry. He would get like that sometimes. He wouldn't normally be abusive, but when he got frustrated or angry, he would lash out. The final straw came just before my 18th birthday. I had been saving up a lot of money from my part-time job, and I was planning on using it to buy a car. I would need it so that I could go to school while still working. I got lucky and got myself a scholarship so that I could go to school. It didn't pay for everything, but it did help a lot. However, the school that I was going to attend was further away than my house, and I would need a means of reliable transportation. While I slept, though, my sister snuck into my room and took my bank card, went down to the bank and drained my bank account, and then snuck my card back into my wallet without me even noticing. The next day, I tried to buy myself lunch, and my card got declined. I was so confused until I checked my bank account and saw that it was empty. My heart skipped a beat when I saw that it was completely empty. There had been over $13,000 in there, and I had no idea what had happened until I got home. My parents and sister were celebrating. As soon as I saw them with a pile of new clothes, a new TV, and various new appliances, I knew that they were responsible for my account being drained. What is all this stuff? Did you monsters steal my money?
Of course I did. You made all that money like a complete chump. Besides, we needed it more.
Besides, we are a family. Your money is our money. Plus, we've given you a house to live in and food to eat. It was the least you could do. Frankly, you should have been sharing it with us all this time.
I can't believe that you would do this to me. I needed that money. You had no right to take that from me.
Oh, just cry us a river.
I was so angry that I could barely see straight. However, I also knew that I wasn't going to get my money back from them. It was just a waste of time. The only thing I felt that I could do was leave and never look back. A few weeks later, I had found myself a very small one-room apartment. Even though it was very cheap, I still struggled to pay for school and my apartment, and I was forced to get a second job in order to pay for anything. However, I was determined to make it work, and while it was a hard struggle, I was able to graduate. My grades weren't the best, but I had my business degree, and I was ready to finally start my life for real. Shortly after graduating, I got myself a job at a bank as a teller and was able to quit my 2 part-time jobs. It was such a relief, as it freed up so much time for me. I made enough money even as an entry-level employee that I was able to pay my bills and work less hours. Things were going very well, but then my family showed up at my apartment.
Hey Brad, it's been a long time since we've seen you.
Yeah, for good reason. What are you doing here?
We heard that you are working at the bank.
Yeah? So what?
Well, we thought maybe you could help us out and give us information about the bank.
Why would I do that? Are you trying to case the bank to rob it? Have you guys moved up to being bank robbers too?
Maybe, but we were more just interested in maybe you could share some of your wealth.
Wealth? Seriously, what is wrong with you people? I don't make a lot of money. I only make enough to cover my own bills.
Don't lie to us. Listen, just give us something and we'll leave you alone. But if you don't, then we'll be forced to make you give us something.
Just give it up. I have no interest in associating with you people. Now just leave. I should have known that although they left, that wouldn't be the end of things. The next day when I came home from work, I found the door to my apartment broken open. Once inside, I saw that many of my belongings were missing, and I knew that my family had broken in and robbed me. I was annoyed and terrified that this was only the first time that they would attack me, and so I packed up my belongings and got myself an apartment at a more secure building. Thankfully, I didn't hear from them for some time. Years passed, and I was promoted at the bank a few times, and was on a track to become the bank manager. Things were going really great for me. I even started dating a woman that I met in my new apartment building. We had a lot in common and had many common goals and wishes. But once again, my family reappeared back into my life. Although this time, it was only my sister. She approached me at my job, and I instantly knew why when I saw her belly. Hey Kendra, listen, if you're here to do business at the bank, that's fine, but I don't want anything to do with you.
Wait! Please. I need your help, Brad.
Help with what exactly?
Well, Mom and Dad got arrested, and without them, I've really been struggling to make ends meet. My baby is due in like 4 months, and I can barely afford to feed myself, let alone a kid.
And what do you want from me? Haven't you people taken enough from me over the years?
Come on, Brad. We're family. Please, I just need a place to stay for a bit and some help paying for the medical bills. I'll pay you back.
I wasn't buying it. It was obvious that she wasn't lying about being pregnant, but even that wasn't enough to make me feel sympathy for her. And so, I asked security to escort her out of the bank and to never allow her back inside. I was curious though, and I called an old friend of mine that lived near my parents, and sure enough, Kendra had been telling the truth about my parents. Their luck finally ran out, and they were arrested and charged with a long list of crimes that pretty much guaranteed that they wouldn't get out of prison for a few decades at least, which left my sister all alone to fend for herself. Part of me felt guilty and wanted to help her, but I knew that if I let her back into my life, that she would only steal from me again. And so I refused to speak with her. After a few months, I got home and found police outside my apartment building. They were escorting my sister, who was incredibly pregnant. Apparently, she had broken into the building and had even broken into my apartment, unaware I had a dog and was attempting to rob me. But then my dog attacked her, and she left my house and started running when the security for the building shot and teased and caught her and detained her until the police showed up. She tried to get them to believe that she had been there with my permission.
There's my brother. Just ask him and he'll confirm that I was allowed to be in that apartment.
Is this true, sir? Did you give her permission to enter your home?
Of course, I didn't. This woman is a thief and a liar. She is my sister, but if she broke into my apartment, then I wish to press charges against her.
You can't be serious? We're family?
Yes, and this isn't the first time that you've stolen from me, but it will be the last time, and that's for sure. The officer dragged her away from me and threw her into the back of a police car. Later, I found out that the judge didn't feel any sympathy for her, despite being pregnant. Sure enough, when she was on trial, they charged her with more than just breaking and entering. In the end, she was sentenced to 15 years in the same prison as our parents. In the back of my mind, I knew that one day they would be out of prison, and that there was a chance that they might just harass me again. But in the meantime, I knew the one way I could get revenge on them would be to deny them a legacy. Soon after my sister gave birth to her son, I petitioned the court to allow me to adopt the boy. I knew that he was blameless in all of this, and that if I took him in and raised him, the opposite of how my sister was raised, that he would have a chance at turning out to be a good man. Thankfully, the court agreed, and they made me his legal guardian. I never told him about his mother or grandparents, but I was sure to write them letters and rub it in their faces that I was raising him to be just like me, a good and honest person. The angry letters I would get back made it all worth it. And as time went on, we really bonded, and eventually the woman I was seeing became my wife, and we had 2 children, but treated all of them the same. It's been 10 years, and all my children are doing wonderfully and are model citizens, while my parents and sister are rotting in jail. So there you have it. Do you think I should have taken pity on my sister and taken her in when she came begging for help? Or do you think I was justified in sending her away?